It's a bit complicated, so bear with me. I, female 34, have been with my husband 37 for 2 years. He has a 9-year-old daughter with his ex-wife, Nora, 36, and the reason for the divorce was financial. But she told me he initiated it after she got diagnosed with cancer. Now cancer has come back, and I feel sorry for her because she's a decent woman overall. Due to the treatment schedule, Nora only gets visitation with my stepdaughter, so for now my husband drives my stepdaughter to see her mum 2 days a week. Yesterday he came home saying Nora wasn't home and he and my stepdaughter had to leave after waiting for an hour. Then he went into the bedroom, stayed there for some time and visited his friend. I was cleaning the bedroom and found a gold bracelet that looked familiar. I realised it belonged to Nora as I'd seen her wear it before. I was confused. I waited till he got home to ask him about it. His reaction wasn't good. He lashed out and took it out of my hand, saying I shouldn't touch his personal stuff. I said this wasn't his stuff, this is Nora's. I asked if he'd taken this bracelet behind her back and he said no. Nora gave it to him so he could give it to their daughter once she's 20 in case something happens to Nora. I don't know why, but I didn't believe him. I told him I would call Nora to ask her, but he started yelling at me to stay out of his family business. We started arguing, and I kept demanding he tell me how and why he got this bracelet. He refused to say anything at first, and then he admitted going into Nora's room and taking it while she was out. I told him this wasn't okay, but he said this was his right after spending money on her treatment before, but never got his money back. I was shocked by this statement. They were married back then, and he shouldn't expect to be repaid. So I got mad and told him he had 1 day to return the bracelet, or I'll tell Nora and let her involve the authorities if she had to, because the bracelet looked heavy and pricey. He begged me to stay out of it, but I refused. He said I was being malicious and should side with him, not threaten him, but I refused to negotiate anything and I'm responsible for my word now. Nora is a decent woman who's struggling, and I feel like she should know she can't trust her own daughter's father in her home after this. He said if I go through with this, then this will ruin our relationship so badly, but I said I'm still standing by my word. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but you have been given a gift by getting a glimpse of your future. Is this what you want? Is this how you want to be treated if you get sick like his ex? He's a cold-hearted idiot, a thief, and a liar. I'd also tell Nora to change her lock so he can't come in while she's out to steal things. This isn't the only thing he's taken, I guarantee it. I agree. While painful, this is a gift. These are not behaviours of someone with good character. This is the first time I'm hearing of divorce being strictly financial in this way. Like he just didn't want to pay for cancer treatment and left her? What about in sickness and for the poorer? Abnormal to end a relationship with someone you supposedly loved before for something like this. Not the idiot. This is the hill, my friend. Do not back down. I don't even know how a relationship recovers from this shocking display of inhumanity. He has some serious personality and empathy problems. I wouldn't want to be his wife, OP. You should really look hard at this person and try and see him for who he is. You seem too lovely to tolerate all that. You seem weirdly attached to the idea that this matter only concerns Nora and not you particularly. Your husband doesn't sound like a good person. He left a woman for financial reasons right as she was diagnosed with an expensive life-threatening illness. Then he stole from her and lied to you about it. Why are you married to a person who would do that? What does this tell you about how he might treat you someday? If you stay, then you are the idiot. I've been married to my wife for 4 years. She's had a kind of troubled family life regarding her father. He ran out on her and her mother for another woman shortly after she was born, and they were estranged until just before our wedding. I'm very close with her mother and she loves me, but her father hates my guts. I've never had anyone hate me as much as he does. He's one of those old-school macho guys, and one of the things he questions about me is my masculinity. When he first met me, he told me my job, software engineering, was a Nancy job, and a real man worked with his hands, and I wouldn't be able to provide for his daughter. Ironic and LOL. I'm also not really a traditionally masculine guy. The most masculine thing I do is lift weights. I paint my nails, style my hair, care about fashion, and do other traditionally feminine things. He constantly mocks me for it and accuses me of being gay. My wife wants me to just put up with it, and I want her to have a relationship with her father, so I just do. But I've been dealing with this for almost 5 years, and it's exhausting and embarrassing. We found out she was pregnant 2 months ago and we're both very excited. We already told her mother and stepdad, who took the news great. Last weekend we met with her father to tell him, of course. She was dreading this and there was no way for this to go well. So before dinner something was up with the TV and he asked me to fix it. I tried, but I couldn't figure it out. He then went on about how a real man fixes things, and what am I going to do when things break around the house? Call someone else? And told me I'm not man enough for his daughter. At this point, I had had enough. I snapped. I told him that I was man enough to put a baby in your daughter, and unlike you, I'm not going to leave them. He exploded and cursed me out, telling me how awful I was, how my wife needed to leave me, and how she made a mistake marrying me. There was a huge argument that my wife had to break up, and we left shortly after. She was very upset with me. She told me I ruined the night, and now she can never have this moment back again because I shot off my mouth. She said it was juvenile of me to respond in the way I did, and that I made her tenuous relationship with her dad even worse now, and it's all my fault, and I need to apologize. I honestly feel like this isn't my fault at all, and it's all on him. I wanted an apology. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your wife needs to get her head on straight. You have to put up with his abuse for years for her. We all have our breaking points. You reached yours, and you, to be honest, had a point. How dare he judge people where he ran from his responsibilities? It would be best if you spoke to your wife, as she needs to accept how you feel. Yeah, I think you have a much bigger problem than your father-in-law. The way your wife acts when he literally abuses you is so unhealthy and needs to stop. On a normal occasion, I would have said that you're the idiot, but because of the duration of mistreatment you faced, I'm surprised you didn't say more. You are the idiot for this instance. Unfortunately, you did rob your wife of a precious moment, as much as that guy deserved the insult. But honestly, that dude is toxic. You need to put your foot down and go no contact with him. Good luck to your new little family. Everyone's the idiot here. One could say the father deserved it, but all you did was fight fire with fire, putting your wife in a more difficult and uncomfortable position. Someone else being an idiot doesn't mean the harm of your own actions is excused. Your wife isn't an angel here either. She should have been standing up for you a long time ago, but parental coercive control has deep roots, and although not excusable, it is at least understandable she may not have. My ex-girlfriend, 21, and I, 22 male, dated for about a year and a half and broke up a few months ago. Not going into details about why we broke up, it doesn't matter. We have a lot of mutual friends, so we still see each other socially. We just don't hang out, just the two of us, and we don't talk or text much, just kind of put on a happy face and keep things civil between us. So far, it's worked. This past Saturday, she texted me around midnight asking me for a ride home from a party because she couldn't find her friends and felt uncomfortable. I told her to take an Uber, but she said she's broke until she gets paid next week and really needs this as a favour, so I reluctantly agreed. Our college town is pretty small, so it wasn't a far drive to pick her up and only a few more miles to her house. Honestly, she probably could have walked it, but it was raining. When she gets in my car, she barely says hi before she takes out her phone and starts texting. I can tell she's been drinking, but she's not wasted. She's constantly texting while I'm driving, and when we're at a stoplight, I can see on her phone that she's texting a guy about him coming over to her place. I ask her who she's texting, and she says it's just some guy. I ask if he's coming over to her house after she gets there, and she tells me that's not really any of my business. I tell her that it's pretty shady of her to have me come pick her up and literally drive her home for a booty call. She tells me to get over myself and that I'm being dramatic, and that what she does with her life is none of my concern. I tell her she's right, it isn't my concern, so get out of my car. I stop the car and tell her again to get out. She looks at me as if I'm crazy and asks me what the heck I'm doing. I tell her I'm putting up boundaries. She says she's not getting out, so I tell her I can wait here all night if she wants, but if she has someone waiting for her, she's going to have to get out and find her own way home. She calls me an idiot, but she gets out. I drive away and she throws something at my car. Over the past few days, I've gotten a lot of hateful messages from people, mostly her friends, but some mutual friends as well. They're mostly telling me that I put her in a dangerous situation and that anything could have happened to her. Now, I don't disagree that making a slightly drunk 21-year-old girl walk home in the rain is kind of crappy, but at the same time, don't ask your ex for a ride home so that you can meet some other guy. Some of my friends agree with me too, that what she did wasn't cool, but that I stooped below her by not just taking her home and making sure she got there safe. But, like she said, Her life is not my concern anymore. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You agreed to pick and drop her. It shouldn't be your business to know what she's doing and with whom. Remember, you guys broke up. Also, you left a drunk woman in the middle of the road and left. God forbid if anything happened to her. You could have at least waited until she got some alternative arrangements. Though you're not responsible for her, you should be responsible as a human being. Dude, don't just get angry and dump her on the side of the road in the rain. Use your words. To be honest, that makes me feel uncomfortable. And then you drop her off. You've shared your emotions, you know where you stand, you don't ever run into this issue again. Easy. Instead, you chose to be spiteful and put this person in danger. Of course you're the idiot. While I agree that her behaviour was uncool, I agree with your friends that say you stooped to a lower level. She is right that her life is no longer your business. To even pry into who she was texting was a bit immature on your part. I don't feel like you're over her, so you should really consider maybe blocking her number until you are. That way, you aren't put into this type of situation in the first place. I'm disabled and I have a service dog. As many of you might already be aware, service dogs are working dogs and should not be distracted or petting during their work or in general as they're guarding their handler. I had a kid the other day approach me asking if she could pet my service dog. The kid was around 5 or 6 years old. I told the kid, "No, you won't pet the dog." The kid's mom came and apologised and explained to the kid that it's a working dog and we can't pet it. The kid asked what's a working dog and the mom explained, and the kid again asked, "And I really can't pet the dog?" And I said, "We said it again, no, you can't pet the dog, it's a working dog. No means no." My tone was strict because I got frustrated with how the kid insisted. The mom then scolded me and told me I didn't have to be rude about it and that the kid didn't even approach the dog. Just ask the question again and I could simply say no or let her handle it. She said that I'm an idiot because instead I chose to be rude about it. I'm honestly tired of explaining to people, especially little kids, why they can't pet my service animal, and I have no patience to be nice or kind to them when these questions pop up. My brother told me I was being an idiot, though, because it was just a kid who just had some questions, and nobody forced me to deal with it, and I was just rude instead of letting the mom handle it. You are the idiot because the parent was handling it. If a parent wasn't handling it or was going to say yes, then sure, be firm. This isn't a question of am I the idiot for saying don't touch the dog, it's am I the idiot for interfering with her parenting. You are the idiot. You can be disabled and an idiot, as this example demonstrates. You have every right to enforce the boundary that your working dog is not to be pet by others. However, expecting a young child to adhere to adult behaviour standards, don't ask a second time, don't express disappointment, is absurd. It wasn't your place to punish the child with a harsh answer. It wasn't necessary at all. Yes, you are the idiot for going at a child who didn't even touch your dog. If you're so fragile you can't handle the fact people will ask about the dog, don't go in public. The kid was excited just seeing a dog. He was then disappointed he couldn't pet it. You literally crapped on that kid's day over them asking a question twice. Never have a kid. You don't have the patience for it. My wife and I have been married for 4 years. She's 26 weeks pregnant now. Recently, she started to pick food off my plate whenever we go out to eat. The thing is, I really don't mind sharing food with others. I just don't like it when someone puts their hand or fork or spoon into my plate. I feel like I'm in a competition, and I have to eat fast or not get to eat enough food. I've explained my feelings to her, but she says it's not a big deal and that spouses should always share food. Today, we went out to dinner. While ordering, I asked if she wanted me to order the same for her, but she said no. She ordered a different thing for herself. When the food arrived, she took a bite of my food to see how it tasted. She said it was delicious and started eating off my plate. I offered to let her eat my food and that I'd take her plate of food, but she said no and that she wanted just a bit of my food. She didn't eat a lot of my food, to be honest, but she kept picking food off my plate as I was eating. At one point, I got frustrated and asked the waiter for an empty plate. I took half of my food from my plate and put it on that extra plate and handed the plate to her so that she would stop picking food from my plate. She got extremely angry and walked out of the restaurant. When we got home, she said I made her feel like a glutton by giving her a separate plate. She's not talking to me now. Am I the idiot? Edit. I'd gotten chicken fried rice, and she was picking out just the chicken and leaving the rice for me. That's part of the reason why I got annoyed. Not the idiot. This is coming from someone who had back-to-back pregnancies with food cravings that made me want to murder everyone in my line of sight. You set your boundaries. You sounded like you were very understanding of her feelings while enforcing them. I would hope that giving her the benefit of the doubt, she was just pregnancy hangry, and she'll come back and apologise later. But from what you've written here, it sounds like you handled it really well. Pregnancy hangry just for the bits of chicken on his fried rice. I don't think so. She had her own plate of food. She was just being a brat. OP, you set your boundaries, which did not include not sharing. So stick to your guns on this. I know she's pregnant, but that doesn't mean you have to be a doormat. It seems like you communicated well enough, so keep up the good communication, but don't apologise for anything and keep enforcing your very reasonable boundaries. That is an extremely annoying habit and a violation of basic courtesy. It's fine if you invite someone to try your food, but to just eat off someone else's plate is rude. It doesn't matter if you're married, there's still a boundary and a need to remain polite. Nobody, spouse or not, should be eating off your plate without your permission. It's rude. Period.